This is Frank Skinner. This is
Absolute Radio.
This is Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio with Emily Dean, and guess what? Steve Hall is with us this morning. You can text the show on 81215, follow us on X and Instagram at Frank on the Radio. Email via frank at absoluteradio.co.uk. That's the free one.
You know, when you introduced Steve Hall, it was very sweet. A little bit of backstage gossip here. The producer clapped, which was lovely, but she did it silently.
Oh.
And I wonder what
Worthless.
the...
That's like smilers in an audience.
I have a lot of audiences like that.
Yeah. Smilers, I think, just don't come if you're gonna, that's all you've got.
Do you find smilers worse than people who look genuinely glum?
No.
Okay.
Nothing is worse than that. Those people,
It's the ones who only show it in their shoulders. You know they're enjoying it, but they're just
I'm
rolling
on
their
about
shoulders.
ones that look at you like they're looking at a second-hand wardrobe. Nothing, just not even contempt. They've gone past that.
What about the ones scrolling through their phone? Oh.
Well, when I saw you at the Lyric, which was fabulous, my friend Helen was in the second row. And you were saying to her, "Are you enjoying it?" And she had to sort of go, "No, this is honestly my happy face."
Yeah, it's you forget that some people they don't. It doesn't all come out on the. That's their story. I hope she had a nice night.
She did. She absolutely loved it.
Frank,
We've
we've received...
This is if Elvis was doing this show, that's what it would be like. Imagine what a scoop that'd be for Absolute. They had Elvis on it.
I don't think my heart could take it. All those bacon and peanut butter.
Well, you'd be going, "I've got this old shirt. I'd love you to wear it. It would sell an old thing."
Yeah, I'm not saying I'd be on. I'm saying he'd replace me.
Oh, right.
He'd be you guys with Elvis.
I would worry about his motivational speeches.
Yeah.
That would change. Is it too dark for breakfast?
Yeah. Yeah, all that stuff. You can get us on X or Instagram. Just think Elvis knew nothing of X and Instagram.
It's for the best.
Love you, see?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
He'd make me talk about all the lovely things he'd bought me.
Yeah, the gifts you
I
guys...
bought this lovely lady a diamond ring. Look beautiful. Show it, everyone. Show it up.
He's not doing it.
Oh, thanks for that. He's not doing it. Newsflash, everyone. We've received this. Well, we didn't actually receive it, but James Bond has tweeted...
Okay.
Official account, James Bond 007.
Okay. Official account.
Yeah, official account. What is Daniel Craig's most memorable stunt? And then there are some images of him in the various films.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, one of our readers has got involved and said, Michael has replied to the official 007 James Bond account, stealing Frank on the Radio's cleaner.
Yes.
I mean, what are the Broccoli family going to think of this?
My brother-in-law had lunch with Barbara Broccoli recently. And... he said to my partner, I had lunch with Barbara Broccoli. And she said, "Who's that?" I said, "No, he calls all his vegetables. He gives them all the first name." Jasper Carrot and Barbara Broccoli I had lunch with. For a second I had her. There was doubt in her eyes. Oh, so look, you know the humus that you get in a windscreen wiper trench on a car?
Hummus? Yeah.
No, humus. You know, humus is that leaf stuff.
Is it?
You know, like they use it on you know what humus is, do you?
This is a new word. As in the old,
God.
he's had is that like a medieval medicine?
No!
The four humours.
The humus. Hang on, do you mean hummus?
No, I don't mean hummus, obviously. You don't get that in the windscreen wiper trench on a car.
Speak for yourself.
You must have been to places where they have, they use it on paths, for example. It's a very leafy, very... used up living creature type of brown composty type stuff. I've never been more disappointed in two people in my entire life, and I'm including both princes. I'll talk about something else after if you've put me off.
Frank Skinner on
Absolute Radio.
So, Frank, we were having a completely normal exchange.
Were we? You're fired, both of you. We don't come on here for completely normal exchanges.
Where you were...
I go on Swap Shop for that.
Slightly upset because we weren't familiar with... What was it?
Humus?
Humus.
You had the rage of someone who's got the right pub quiz answer. And his teammates are letting him. Do
you know, I met a guy this week who I was in a quiz with. When did we do that Atlantic Bar quiz, Em?
Oh, Frank and I were in a quiz together. I would say it
12 years ago.
Oh, longer than that, darling.
Longer than that.
90... what about 98, 99 maybe?
Was it that long ago?
Maybe 2000.
Anyway, let's say 25 years ago, roughly.
Yeah.
I met this guy and he said, I was in a quiz team with you. I filled in 1 week because someone was away. He said there was a pictures round. He said, and it was album covers, and you had to say who the artist was. He said, and you arrived, I think you arrived a bit late. He said, and we got them all down, and we'd got Ike and Tina Turner. And you said, Ike and Tina Turner? I don't think so. Charlie and Inez Fox. He said, and I just remember thinking, wow, that's amazing. And he remembers that from 25 years ago. One quiz answer. Fantastic. Humus.
Oh, don't.
It's plant fibre and stuff like that, and it's used on sometimes in paths in things like the countryside when they put paths in. Yeah, it is a bit titchmarsh.
Does the show finally have a sponsor? Is this what this is?
Titchmarsh would say they use it on country paths where a slab might jar.
Have you met Alan Titchmarsh?
Oh yeah, he's lovely.
Isn't he nice?
I was watching his show this morning before I left.
Okay.
Yeah, you know, they go to someone's garden and make it...
oh, I know. They go to someone's garden.
They go to someone's garden and make it into a garden that the person has to pretend they like. Anyway, I love those gardener people.
Do you?
Yeah.
Why?
There's something... they look like... I mean, it's a style. They dress in a very distinct... Even the shoes they wear, those elasticated side leather shoes that female gardeners wear, saying I'm a gardener, but I'm actually quite cool in my other life. Yeah, they just seem like nice people of the ground. They'd know what humus was.
Dimmock was the OG. She was the...
Oh, yes. She was when people say they lived, they were put into a hypnosis and they went back to another life they'd had. And they were a serving wench in the West Country in the 18th century. That they all were Charlie Dimmock, basically. Anyway.
So hummus, is it like, is it mulch?
Yeah, it's like mulch.
Okay, fine.
And you get it in the bottom of your windscreen wiper trench.
I do get
because
that.
letting leaves sit there for ages. So when I leave the house in the morning, I always check so I can scoop a bit out on the way to
How
school.
do you scoop? It's quite hard to get purchased
I use fingers. Simple as that.
Oh. Okay.
Anyway, I thought I'll check me mulch, and guess what?
What?
My car had gone.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
Frank, you'd left us on a cliffhanger.
If I was around when I was in my 20s, if social media had existed and I'd been doing the equivalent of the coffee drinkers, if I'd have been saying, oh my God, on Twitter, I haven't had my Pernod yet, how am I going to get through the day? People would have been appalled. My dependency.
If you'd have had a picture of Garfield saying, must have absinthe.
Yeah, exactly. I never touched the absinthe. We've all got our limits.
Really? Well, not Toulouse-Lautrec, as it turned out.
It wasn't really popular in that
I think
era.
he ate shorts. He stopped with usually.
Oh, God.
it had a bit of a comeback in the 90s.
No, it was ouzo. I would drink if I couldn't get
No,
Pernod.
but the
It's
French,
equivalent.
the
It's either ouzo, Pernod, or Cocoa Pops. That was my start of the day. Anyway, so my car. I said, so my car had gone.
what do you mean?
It had gone. It had been stolen
Outside your hat? From
outside my house.
This is shocking.
So I phoned the police, but the police always come late if they come at all. No, they didn't. They were actually very prompt.
What did you say to them? Hello, I'd like
I
to
said,
report
I
a
believe
theft."
my car has been stolen. And they said, when was it stolen? I said, after 1 a.m. and before 8:10 when I left the house. They said, how do you know it was stolen after? And it was a tremendous Colombo moment. I said, well, it rained until 1 a.m. and there is a dry rectangle where my car was. I mean, I could hear the ooh from the other end of the line. I thought it was going to be a job offer, but it didn't come. But anyway, dry rectangle would be a great name for a pub, wouldn't you? Just nipping in the dry rectangle. Yeah. Anyway, they found it.
No.
Fabulous work.
They found it. I mean, it's got a tracker on it. So the tracker people found it. Very
So what
quick.
happened? It had been stolen by you.
It's a bit easier to find because it's purple and on the bonnet it says Frank Skinner Saturday mornings on Absolute Radio. I don't know if you know I've got that
I
car.
presume this is your
you
own
should
tracker.
get that
There's
car.
just a big microphone on the
You should
top
get
of it.
that car because nobody would steal it.
No, I'd have it if they gave me a
It's
free one.
I
theft-proof.
presume this is your tracker, not just a really helpful stalker.
No.
He's got a company one.
Yeah, you can pay for it. They were. It was tremendous. It was all done very well. It was a bit bashed up when I got it back, but it was great to get it back. As I think Charles II said about England. Bit bashed up when I got it back.
Had they cleaned out the humus?
Nah, they hell.
I wonder why they targeted your car, Frank.
Yeah.
Well, they couldn't have done it at a worse time
Why?
because I had to phone my PA on honeymoon
Oh dear.
to get the phone numbers of all the right people. But it was a bit.
That's quite a shocking thing.
It was shocking.
Had you left stuff in there? Was there 200 weight Attackis or other such precious items?
There was 9 designer leather jackets in the boot. That's what I've told the insurance company. No, I haven't. No.
They sound nice.
Yeah. No, I just knew someone who every time there was an insurance claim, there was always a leather jacket. It wasn't me. I can't do it, you see, because I'm a Catholic. I'd rather have the peace than the money.
Did the police turn up, Frank?
The police were brilliant. Tracking company, brilliant. Everyone did a great job. I'd love to give you a terrible story about.
Would you like to thank the police?
I did thank the police. I'm actually doing their Christmas party. I'm not.
Okay.
So yeah, it was a weird old thing, but I've got it back, and it's a bit, It's, as I say, it's been knocked about, but it's an anecdote on wheels now, and that's a good thing.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
We've heard Frank from Paul the Baggy in Solihull.
Oh yeah,
He says, "Hi all, I'm a 57-year-old man from West Bromwich."
that's why you're baggy, I suppose. Carry on.
I'm a 57-year-old man from West Bromwich who knows what humus is. I now believe soil structure was only taught in West Bromwich in the 70s.
Maybe.
I had always wondered what the point was, and I would never need that knowledge until now.
That's great news. Well done. Was it Paul the Baggy?
Yes.
Paul the Baggy in
Top man.
Solihull.
Solihull, he's sold out.
What? Why has he sold
Very
out?
posh Solihull.
I actually like it's gone to LA or something.
It's the equivalent. If you're born in West Bromwich, it's stockbroker belt.
That's like when you told me about Adrian Trials, and you were honestly acting like he was a Ewing family or something.
Well, he lived in a place called Hagley, and my dad used to say, if we win the pools, I'll get a small holding in Hagley. So we used to dream of living where Adrian Chiles lived. Yeah. Privilege. It's everywhere. By the way, can I say that Steve and Emily were saying to me, I can't believe you were so certain you'd parked in that space. They don't realise that when I park, that kind of parallel parking, it takes me about 10 minutes. So I know.
It does.
Yeah, I know it. I've never, ever lost my car. Because by the time I've seen the area I'm parking, both through the window and in my rear view mirror, coming at me and going away again for 10 minutes. I really, really know where I've parked.
Oh, I'm so happy you got your car back.
Oh, me
because
too.
The criminals didn't prosper.
Exactly.
I like the idea of them going there feeling so confident they'd got away with it.
Well, I don't want to antagonise them. But I mean,
yeah, let's keep on their right side.
I have to say it was a very clever piece of stealing, which I won't go into the details of. But
no,
I mean, I've got a Faraday pouch. I thought I was safe. Okay.
Well, and I'm also really thrilled. I know about this stuff you've taught me about.
What, humus?
Yeah, the West Bromwich stuff.
Oh, yeah. I don't know if it's known as the West Brom. I wouldn't have thought there was much in. I would have thought you couldn't go into a gardening centre, which is the sort of modern equivalent of a community hall. I think that's where people gather now, certainly at the weekends, without seeing humus in some form.
I think I've called it mulch, though.
No, I'm happy with mulch.
Are you okay with mulch?
Yeah.
Quite onomatopoeic mulch, which is why I like it.
I saw, I went to a gig, by the way, this week. I saw Corey Taylor. Me and my son went to see. Do you know Corey Taylor?
I don't know Corey Taylor.
Steve, I look to you for music.
I'm drowning in parenthood. I haven't
Corey Taylor
been aware of any culture for a long time.
It sounds American.
Yes, he's American.
Okay, American. Does he have dyed black hair?
No.
Oh.
He's not from Slipknot or something.
He is. He's the lead singer with Slipknot, so he's normally masked. I missed the mask, I must say.
How old is he now, Slipknot? He's about 60, isn't he?
No. He looked great, but I missed the mask. So I saw Bernie Clifton live once. It was famous for having a sort of mock... What kind of bird was it?
An ostrich?
Was it an ostrich that he used to ride? Do you remember?
Yes.
It was like a suit.
I do.
And I remember he came on normally in an evening suit kind of thing. And he said, after a bit, he said, don't worry, I've got it with me. Which Corey Taylor didn't say about the terrifying mask.
Bernie Clifton's part of England's marching band, isn't it? The team, the brass band that goes to all the England games. I think, but genuinely, it's not a joke. I think Bernie Clifton was...
I'm not having it.
A travelling...
I like that.
Paul, give us the facts. Paul the bag eel now. That's... no, I'm not accepting that.
Frank, I like Don't Worry, I've Got It With Me. I think there's a lot of people...
Yeah. If only the dancers had said that at the Moulin Rouge when me and David Baddiel went, they didn't do the can-can. No mask on Corey Taylor. No ostrich on Bernie Clifton. No can-can at the Moulin Rouge. What's been conspicuous by its absence in your life? 8, 12, 15.
Frank Skinner.
Absolute Radio.
This is from Michael. If you must invite a guest on, none taken, Steve.
Steve's not a guest.
Okay, no, exactly. His family. Isn't it about time you had Basil Brush making an appearance? He was looking lively last night, but he must be getting on in years now.
Yeah, he is. I don't know. I suppose it would be a very woke move to take a stance against fox hunting. I've worked with him quite a bit.
Yeah, he was on Fantasy Football League, wasn't he?
He was on Fantasy Football. He was a guest on my This Is Your Life. Can you believe that?
And
And the operator, we were kept waiting. I did a gig at the London Palladium, and then it happened after that. So the show started at like 1 o'clock in the morning, and the operator, I think, had a couple of white wines. To be fair to him, he was on medication, so he hadn't had a lot, but he had enough as a cocktail. So Basil sounded like he was drowning when he was talking. So, Mr. Frank, when he was doing that, and I don't think I've ever laughed more on television in my life. And Basil, no, Mr. Frank, but if you're... But when we rehearsed, I remember we rehearsed without the poppet at one point, just with Ivan, who was the operator. It was an old man with his old hands sticking up through the counter, and we were talking to that. Like Carrie at the end of Carrie. Oh,
it's
man.
one of the great endings to a comedy special, that the film where it's your show. I remember getting it on VHS, and it's a brilliant show, and then Aspel walks out at the end.
Yes.
That's a fabulous ending.
What happened to Aspel? Is he still around?
No, he's still around.
Oh, okay.
That's what would worry me a bit about having BB on. Is I don't know.
He's describing in the same way as Bridget Barter.
Yeah, BB. I don't know.
Boom, boom. It's only just occurred to me that Boom, Boom and Basil Brush have got the same
he knows
initials.
what he's doing, BB.
Yeah.
What worries me about BB is having... I don't know what I'm going to get with the operator. Which one is it this week?
No, well, I don't know if there's a...
Do we have to take the operator for brunch, or is it Basil Brush?
Well, Basil Brush should be cheaper.
Well, is he allowed?
You could just fill him up with potato peelings.
No lobster for him.
No. Boom!
He might get turned away, which is embarrassing.
I think he's done a lot of work for children learning to read and write and stuff.
Fox is allowed in restaurants.
But he also, we've probably eaten many a one and not known.
No.
Fine. He did an Edinburgh show, which was he swore and stuff, and he did like a sort of stag.
Basil Brush after midnight.
I think it was like a Basil Brush stag show. So
he did like Hollyoaks
all the
Nights.
haunted creatures included in the title.
He didn't do Hollyoaks Nights, Basil.
Yeah, he did.
Oh, he did.
He did the dark side of Basil Brush.
He's gone blue.
I don't know if he still does that. I did a corporate thing with Nookie Bear once, and he was very rude. He was extremely rude.
I did a corporate thing with Nookie Bear.
Yeah. Oh, I've lived. Don't worry about that.
Roger de Courcy.
Yes, he was a bit Corsey. I remember Roger de Courcy said he told me stop going to football after an incident in the Olympic Gallery. And he wouldn't give any more information.
I'll tell you this, I bet Nookie was involved.
Well, I don't know about that. It's a very big bathroom area.
This is Frank Skinner. This is
Absolute Radio.
On things coming out of nowhere, when I was at the Corey Taylor gig at the Evan Team Apollo. Is that how you say it?
I've never known how you pronounce it.
I'd say...
It's still the Hammersmith Odeon to me.
Eventim, I'd go.
Yeah, okay. A guy said to me, can I ask you a question? There's a question I've always wanted to ask you. I said, this guy in the audience, I said, okay. He said, why have you never done Top Gear? You've always wanted to ask me that. And then he spilt beer over me while he was talking, absolutely drenched me. And then another guy said, will you sign my forearm? And I said, okay. And I did that. He tipped beer all over me as well, accidentally. So I smelled like the old days.
What did the third guy say? How you diddling? Not very bad.
Unfortunately, because it's true, there's no rule of three in this story. It's a damn shame.
Did he ask you about Top Gear before or after your car had been stolen?
Well, I hadn't told him about that. Was before, I think, yes. That's true. You'll never guess what Corey Taylor did.
This is the Slipknot man.
He did a song from a theme from a children's TV show, which he wrote.
Okay, shall we guess?
Yeah. Corey Terry's Slipknot, remember? So, you know,
it's around
that's what it's normally like.
So I reckon he's in his 50s now.
I think he looks fantastic. I would have thought he's younger than that, but I could be wrong.
What do you want to guess?
Well, I don't know how left field to guess here. Before you said Kid Show, I was thinking it turns out he'd written The Young New Mexican Puppeteer.
No.
But I'm going to say Paw Patrol.
No.
Let's go left field.
Good. What's yours?
Okay. I'm going to go Power Rangers.
Nice. Well, so he gets up, he gets an acoustic guitar to do another song, and the crowd all get excited. And he goes, oh, all right then. He lives in a pineapple under the sea, and everybody goes, SpongeBob SquarePants. It was
him?
It's a very special moment, yeah. Of course, he had to include songs. He does a lot of swearing.
Right.
There's a lot of suggestions that we have some sort of Oedipal relationships going on.
Please. We've got...
His album is called CMFT.
You're a bit obsessed with him.
Yeah. He's called Corey. I think you can work it out. Anyway.
Oh, no.
He was great, though.
We've had a lot of communiques regarding... I'm quite frightened to say this word because I got it wrong and I don't want you to be angry with me. It's called humus.
I think it's humus.
Humus. What's a good way for me to remember it?
Think
Hume.
of...
Cardinal Hume.
Okay, yeah, do it like that.
I've got you must try the sandwiches.
Okay.
You must learn more about soil might be a good way of remembering it.
Well, I suggested Cardinal Hume and you've gone for you must try the sandwiches.
Humongous. I'd never say humongous. I've never said humongous before. That's the first time I've ever said it. Would you ever say, well, it was absolutely humongous?
Yes.
Would you?
Let's leave it there.
Okay.
So, Frankenteam, it was also known as league mould.
League or leave?
They've said league.
Well, yeah,
Do you think that's a typo?
I have been staring at that, trying to work out if it's a typo.
My dad used to have sacks of it to put on the garden for the veg. Now, garden has been spelt GSTDEN, which is making me think league might have been leaf. However, I think you'll enjoy 119, don't you, Steve?
Yeah, absolutely.
Over to you.
It's an absolute cracker. Hello, Frank. My husband shares your sheer indignation over the leafed humus. He's been shouting at the radio about it and claims he cleaned the humus from our car charging port this AM. Thank you for raising this informative issue. Incidentally, he once met you about 10 years ago in a swimming pool changing room.
Oh, he was one of those guys.
Not a family one.
No.
In the Cotswolds.
No.
Yes.
Our
Yes, I think I know.
2-year-old son was screaming his head off for me. And you, Frank, ever ready with a helpful suggestion, said to my husband, that's gratitude for you. Praise redacted, Erica and Mark.
You can say that about any child in crime. It's a great catch-all. Yeah, I get very self-conscious in dressing rooms.
Why?
Because you're an anecdote on legs. A naked celebrity is an anecdote on legs.
Yeah, but what a pair of legs. If you don't mind me objectifying you.
Yeah, well, it's all right. Everything's fine if you start at the bottom, but then things start going wrong. And I always think, they're making mental notes of this for stories in the pub later. Oh, the horror. The horror.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
We've also had 597 has been in touch with us just to continue with some of our correspondence. Hi, Frank, Emily and Steve. I'd never heard of humus either until today.
Okay.
It really worked, that Cardinal Hume. I really feel confident now. I'd never heard of humus either until today. I'm with Emily as a mulch person.
Yeah, I'm all right with mulch. I don't mind it. Yeah.
Although I'm not sure... Oh, no, that was rude. I don't know whether I could say that. I don't know.
Don't say anything borderline.
Well,
I can't cope.
The
producer starts playing with a laminate in anxiety.
I was not going to read that bit out.
No.
I think we'll leave
if
that.
I'm not going to say it, then it's
We're in trouble.
Steve,
And you
who's
know
a bit end of the pier, rude.
That was Simon of Sudbury.
Oh, yes.
Who's one of our regulars.
Okay.
And it's not like him. He's got a little bit medieval with the...
Has he got a bit barrack room?
He's got It's got a little bit medieval.
No, we don't want any of that.
The crudité.
We don't want any of that.
Okay. Is that SMS?
We've also had some justice for Bernie Clifton. Said a few people have said there's a bit of dispute about what exact instrument he plays.
I think it's the ostrich.
It's either the trombone or the trumpet.
Right.
Glenn Davis has said Bernie plays
in
trumpet.
the England.
In the travelling band. And someone has quoted Martin Sullivan and said Bernie Clifton was a member of the England band, certainly in 2014, according to The Guardian, who quoted David Baddiel commenting on Twitter. And David had said, I tire of endless Rule Britannias and Great Escapes. Clifton played trombone.
Yes, Dave has... it has always been furious that they never play Three Lions, the England band.
And that band's only existed since 96 as well. Its genesis was when your song was first released.
Yes, there's gratitude for you. As I said to the Crying Child, it's the absolute equivalent, born out of 96, but still their infernal screeching shows no respect.
That's what you said about me and Kath once.
Oh, yes.
Now, listen.
Listen, it's all got a bit Frankie Howard.
We've got some... we've had some correspondence through, Frank.
Yes.
You know what I'm talking about here, Steve. It's regarding the food.
Ah, yes.
Frank's food of choice. It's regarding your beloved crisp choice.
Oh.
Are they a crisp? They're a maize corn snack.
Are they?
Well, I'm just making that up.
I think they're a maize balls. We're talking about, and we don't advertise on the show, although I do very much like radish soap.
We're going to get in trouble with people. People always suspect
People
us.
think we're doing something.
Yeah, they think we've cooked up some
And also,
deal.
what I always say with Takis, which is the snack we're discussing, is that everyone else on the show hates it. So it's a weird kind of advertising.
It would work if you were to advertise it, Takis for the comedian, as a play on taxi for the comedian. If you're familiar with that.
That's terrible, Steve.
You say play.
Steve, it's one of the worst things you've ever said. I don't like it.
I'm
pitching money-making ideas.
I love you, Steve, but I ain't having it.
I'm just surfing out advertising ideas.
Love you, Steve, but come on.
Takis for the comedian.
No, stop it.
I stand by it. I'm not ashamed.
Respect, though.
Yeah.
The other version was
no respect. My respect is swirling down the plug hole.
The other version was...
If anyone's listening in Australia, yours will be swirling the other way.
There's only two things in life that are certain: death and Takis. That was the other.
Oh, that's better. That's better.
Do you know what?
What isn't?
What isn't better than Takis for the comedian?
I mean,
come on, Steve.
I think Taxi for the comedian isn't great, and that's without any interference. Anyway, I don't know if we should be workshopping our guests.
Listen,
remarks.
we've all got a ballet link. You've just found
I've been
yours.
relegated back to guest after the poor quality of that pun has seen me demoted.
That was me subliminally distancing myself.
You are out of the family. You're no family of mine.
Yeah, it's like that. What's that Disney thing when the guy with the glasses who lives in the wall?
I hate him.
Come on, help me out.
He sounds terrible, that
What
man.
do you think I imply?
Hang on, the producer?
What's it called?
What is it? A Disney character who lives in a wall?
Yeah.
With glasses.
And everyone, we need to talk about, or don't mention...
we don't talk about Bruno.
Oh, God, honestly.
Well, you could have told me.
Humus, Bruno. I mean, am I speaking a foreign language?
Well, yeah, pretty much.
Frank Skinner on
Absolute Radio.
I tell you what I realised the other night from watching a documentary about ABBA.
You have gone ABBA mad in your family.
Well, yeah. So Kath was... she's gone totally since ABBA Voyage.
How many times? At least 3.
3, and I think there's another one in the offing. And so I was watching. I realise now that I prefer Anna Fried to Agneta. For years, it was always Agneta, and I've really grown into Annafried.
Voice of controversy.
Yeah. I think, you know what it is? I think as you get older, the sort of just the classic beauty thing is tedious. And
that's good news.
Yeah.
Likes it me.
Yeah, well, no, it isn't. And she just looks like a bit more, she's got a bit more going on, Annafried, I think. Looks a bit more sparky.
So you're saying you're sort of hunting out the hinterland a bit more?
I don't know. I've always been a bit.
It's a fantastic. Welcome to Hunting Out the Hinterland with Frank Skinner.
Kath always quoted for years that I said to her that she was beautiful, but she was like a director's cot of a beautiful woman. She's quoted that back to me.
But you said that to Kath?
Times. Yeah.
To her?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's what intimacy's all about.
Oh.
Nevertheless, yeah.
Although, to be fair, Kath likes nothing more than for you to select someone quite odd-looking, celebrity, and to be told she looks like that person.
What Kath loves best of all is a celebrity who's stuck with his wife, who's now getting a bit older. And she'd say... go on and be a celebrity. You think, oh, I bet they've got rid of their original wife and got some and it'll still be with the original wife. And Kath will always go, "Aww," so deeply patronising.
And then if you say, "Oh yes, they got remarried," and she'll go, "Oh,
yeah, exactly."
I'm with her.
They're all judged. They're all judged on it.
Yeah.
Steve, I don't feel we've gone deep enough into Steve's world.
Well, you say that. I think you'll find we just had
what, Joe Le Taxi?
Yeah.
That's how I'm going to call him from now on.
As punishment,
Steve Le Taxi.
And I've just had, while that last song was playing, I've just had my first Takis experience. And,
yeah, I gave Steve one.
I feel like I've had 1,000 Red Bulls.
It's odd how people never have the second one.
You might want to think about that. What does that tell you? We did actually never get to the... That was the sound effect. Frank, we'll get extra money for that. They told me they'd pay us extra.
I don't want their money. It's blood money as far as I'm concerned.
Once you pop, it is medically urgent that you stop straight away.
We never got to the correspondence regarding it, but we can come back to it.
Is there a...
Yeah, there was, Steve, wasn't
yes, there was.
Oh, well, let's do that, and then Steve can tell us...
It's from one of our friends in Tenerife.
Yes,
well,
Leighton.
They're not in Tenerife, but they had a holiday there, Steve. Am I right?
Yes, absolutely.
If I was from Tenerife, I would get two friends together and I would get a band called the Three Tenerifes. And I just think it's a good title just waiting to happen. But the people of Tenerife are a bit slow on it, I'll be straight with you.
The good people of Tenerife.
Yeah. I don't even know where Tenerife is. I've got no idea. Is it Spanish?
It's the European side of
so.
Africa, is it? Is it Africa? Technically, I believe, is it?
Oh, I don't know.
One of us will know. Anyway, these characters will just leave you on a bit of a cliffhanger here.
Yes.
Steve?
We said the absolute highlight of this week's sojourn to Tenerife, which I enjoyed, was the discovery of Takis in the local supermarket.
Okay, we'll leave it there.
Frank Skinner.
Frank Skinner.
Absolute Radio.
So we'd left you on a Takis cliffhanger.
Yes.
From Leighton, who'd been to Tenerife and discovered Takis in the local supermarket. And he says, I had to see what all the hullabaloo was about and bought myself a packet of each flavour on offer.
Wow, he went blue.
So the first ones I tried were the intriguingly titled Queso Volcano, which my most basic grip on Spanish translated as some kind of cheesy volcano. They were rather nice, and I was all ready to declare myself a member of #Team Frank, with both Pierre and Emily plummeting, in my opinion, thanks to their amateur dramatics and histrionics.
Wow.
He says, I then attacked the second flavour. Oh, what had I done? I can only assume Mr. Skinner's favoured flavour is what the Spanish title Fuego. Initially, they were not too bad at all. A little strange, but perfectly palatable. It was only on the third or fourth one that they really hit me, and the fire caught at the back of my throat with the rest of my mouth soon catching up. Fuego.
I'm just holding up my packet of Fuegos. Yeah.
Says, I immediately became desperate for a drink, which did indeed calm things down a bit and allow my sunburn to once again be confined to the exterior of my body.
Oh, well, nice.
He said, Pierre and Emily, I apologise sincerely and unreservedly. Frank, I applaud you for seeking out and enjoying bold, new, exciting tastes at a time when perhaps the trend may be to flavour a more beige plateful.
Oh.
I've got a beige dog. Is that count?
You have, yeah. Mine's Brindle.
Oh, is it? Is that what colour?
Martin, as I call him. He actually, Brindle, I didn't know what Brindle was.
I thought Brindle was a mix of sort of black and brown,
So did
all
I.
mottled together.
That's what I thought. But when I Googled, he does come under Brindle.
Well, hush my mouth.
There's sufficient chocolate in him.
Okay.
Yeah?
You can't give them chocolate now, of course.
No.
Indeed.
All our dogs, when I was a kid, lived on chocolate and biscuits. But apparently they die now if you give it to them.
Yeah. The old ways have gone, Frank.
Yeah. Perfectly happy with it.
I would like Frida from ABBA, Mark Ryan says, is a fascinating person.
Now, I believe she's a member of the Swedish or the Swiss royal family or something of that equivalent. She married like the Baron von Dingle-Bering and he died and is a princess, I think. And now she goes out with some... I've looked her up.
I think Mark has said, I don't know if it would, but has said she was born as a result. Her birth father was, I'm afraid, a Nazi officer. And Mark says, too dark for breakfast.
Yeah, that is. Yeah. We won't hold that against her.
We won't hold that against her. I'm glad you've gone over to Frida, Frank.
Yeah, she's, I find, celebrities who moan about celebrity, I think that's where Agnata is. Oh, yeah, people, following me around. Well, just get a job in the post office. Why didn't you do that?
It's like knowing what Mark's just told us there about her dad being an officer. That changes Super Trooper for me. Something way more.
Oh, please.
Troubling.
Please. Steve, I don't want Steve's the only impression Steve leaves on the show today to relate to, you know what I'm going to say, Frank?
Yes.
Gerald Taxi.
To Taxigate.
I would like to find out more about what's going on in Steve's world.
Okay, well, we'll come to Steve's world.
It's
what's the saying? It's Steve's world and we all just get to live in it or something like that. Is that what people say?
We'll need to get a taxi first.
It's Steve's world and we politely avoid it.
Yeah.
And we make our excuses and leave.
Oh, no, we don't. We love
you, Steve.
We love Steve. Yeah, yes, in a slightly patronising way, but with some affection. Some affection also. No love is unalloyed, I would say.
Frank Skinner.
Absolute Radio.
Absolute Radio.
Now, I was asking Steve. I want to know about Steve's life, Frank. Don't you?
Go on.
Yes,
What's happening?
What is my life? How do I exist?
What's up?
We talked about it a couple of years ago. We talked about this. So my wife is studying and researching a condition called misophonia.
Yes.
Both Emily and Pierre are fairly severe sufferers of.
Wow, everybody's got something.
The condition, it's a disorder
We're
where
very intolerant.
it's an extreme emotional reaction to repetitive noises. So
Right.
chewing, breathing,
I
fingernails.
get it visually. So, for example, I had to tell the producer the other week, please stop twiddling your laminate because it was distracting me to the
That's
point.
a fiddle toy.
I know, but come on, what is she?
I know,
dog,
but
right?
some people need a fiddle toy. That's simple as that.
Anyway,
There's things like that. So fingernails on typewriters. Keyboards rather, typewriters makes it sound a bit more 1970s than I intended to. And so she has had a book published. So it just came out in September. It's the first proper self-help guide to people with misophonia. And she set up the first NHS referral scheme in the country.
Does it come with free earplugs on the front, like when you buy a children's comic and you get all that stuff stuck on the front of
She
it?
has been trying to research what are the best earplugs to get. But,
I know. I don't know if I'm allowed to mention brands, but I have about 6.
It is. They are vital. It's tricky.
Yeah, but what? I don't get it.
I know you don't.
It's a noisy old world we live in. Well, what's the big deal?
All right, 1953.
There are people with, I think the research said that 18% of the country have misophonia to some degree, but there are people who have it on a clinical level where it goes beyond mere annoyance at people being rude and it goes into despair and rage and so on.
Goodness.
And so the people who've got it, it really ruins their lives. And so she's been doing all sorts of media to promote it. So she's been on Steph's Packed Lunch. She went on Jeremy Vine. She sat on the BBC breakfast couch with Charlie and Naga.
Oh, Charlie.
Yeah, she got the big dogs.
Did she like Charlie?
She said they were absolutely delightful.
Yeah.
And for some reason, all of these shows, they always
all of
play
these shows are my version of misophonia. When you're sitting watching the telly shouting, why?
But they,
as Frank said, "Why am I here?" I believe you once said when we were in a film or something and watching someone, and you said, "Why am I here?"
I think it's always good to ask why we're all here, just as a moment of justification.
But she was interviewed in the Times as part of the book promotion, and I was
by Brian Blessed. Cruel.
And I was going to read an excerpt from the interview. It'll become apparent why I'm reading this particular.
Well, maybe we should have. We're about to go into the news, so maybe we should hold this excerpt.
Certainly.
So let's just set this up. It's an interview with the Times. Your wife, and the subject is misophonia. Yeah. People who don't like certain noises. Mm-hmm. I think we got it.
Frank Skinner on
Absolute Radio.
Okay, we're going to go back to Steve because he left us on a cliff.
We don't have a jingle for Steve. What about this?
Fabulous. That's very much the noise in my head as I walk down the street.
I should hope so.
So my wife has written a book on misophonia, as we were saying, and she was interviewed in the Times.
That'd be a great Bernard Manning. My wife's written a book on misophonia. I said, shut up.
So the reason I'm reading you this excerpt will become apparent. As I read it out, you'll understand why I want to share this with the world. So the interview says, she grew up in a beach town in Australia and moved to the UK in 2010 after falling in love with an Englishman, the comedian Steve Hall. The first 3 years of their relationship were long distance. It wasn't until they moved in together that Gregory my wife uses her maiden name, made a terrible discovery. I said to him, "Have you always breathed this loudly?" She couldn't believe she hadn't noticed. She says, I would have considered
that. I don't want to know the context for that sentence.
She says, I would have considered that a deal breaker. I didn't think I could be with someone who breathed loudly and ate loudly, and he did both. Impressively, love got them through. Hall agreed that if the room was quiet, he wouldn't sit too close. If we were eating, sometimes it was better for him to sit next to me so I couldn't see the eating process, and sometimes it was better for him to sit opposite me so I couldn't hear it. So that is 4 paragraphs about what a disgusting pig I am in the Times.
I know.
In the paper of record for the United Kingdom.
Well, thank God for the paywall.
No mention of the fact that she snores like a warthog. Where is my interview?
I knew a woman who I knew a guy. I didn't know the wife, but when they had meals, she used to wear proper industrial ear protectors because she couldn't stand the noise he made when he chewed.
Really?
I mean, this is a level of intolerance.
Yeah. Well, my wife's had that. She's had an excerpt from that interview printed on a mug that I now drink from. I slurp tea from the mug with her own words, taunting me.
Are you a
I'd
heavy
say
breather?
that's certainly been imprinted on a mug.
I don't think I am a heavy breather. I think I took a football to the nose from a comedian's football game, and Milton Jones sent over a very elegant cross that I headed badly and hit with my face. And I think that's what created it. And I've had septoplasty to try and... I've gone under the surgeon's knife to annoy my wife slightly less.
That's what Kim Kardashian said. I know there's excuses.
I don't know how people get through with this level.
It was literally the sound of me breathing. The sound of me being alive makes my wife want to smash my face in.
I get stick for whistling. But I'm from the 50s. What does she expect? But you can avoid whistling. Sometimes you don't know you're doing it. But generally speaking, but breathing, you're kind of stopped with, as you say.
Yeah. But she's got
my thing is the long-nailed crew tapping on the iPhone.
Oh, that's an awful...
Tap, tap. You know, the dog on lino. They sound like a dog.
I love the sound of a dog on lino.
But it sounds like Shep. I don't want that. I actually say to people, when they've got those very long acrylic nails and they tap on the phone, I say, can you please stop doing that?
Well, I just ask you people to think of Beethoven, who would have killed to be able to hear these noises in his later years.
He was a nice man, apparently.
Yeah, he was a right
Churchill had misophonia, apparently. I just found this out recently. He had typewriters shipped in from America that were silent keys because the noise of the clacky typewriters that were made in the UK.
No wonder he didn't like Hitler. He was a noisy individual. Gosh.
So noisy.
Oh, shout. What you shout? There's a microphone. Can you not see the microphone?
Well, it makes sense why he wanted to fight them on the beaches now, because the sand is softer.
Yeah, exactly.
Even Blondie, that poor dog, he was wincy because he had very good hearing. But they do Alsatians.
Maybe he didn't bark.
What, Blondie?
Yeah.
No, he wasn't allowed. Frank, briefly, Sally Sallet, misophonia, husband scraping the freezer drawers in and out, then rummaging about through the crunchy contents. It makes my teeth itch.
But the trouble is, surely every relationship that lasts any time is a lesson in tolerance. I mean, I really get annoyed that my partner wears odd socks and wears clothes inside out. I don't want to see the exposed seams. I'm not living with the Frankenstein monster. But nothing changes. I just have to... Years ago, as a final thought on this, we had couple counselling, and the counsellor said to me, I think you need to accept there's not going to be any big changes here. You either take her like this or you don't take her at all. And I said, OK, I'll take her like this. We can all learn from that.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
So I've been sent the audiobook of Steve's wife's book. I couldn't hear it.
I'm going to take that. It's called Sounds Like Misophonia by Dr. Jane Gregory, if anyone wants to read
I can't believe that I don't plug like this, my own stuff.
No, you don't.
Never.
We're not allowed.
Yeah?
Frank?
Yes?
We have things to discuss here.
Well, there's a thing that we discuss every year, which has occurred, which I think we should probably take on. And that is the John Lewis Christmas ad.
Christmas ad.
It's something of an institution.
I mean, there's a big hullabaloo.
There is all sort of hullabaloo.
Every time it drops. I felt very young when I said that, Frank. Drops.
That was very
like
good.
The trainers. And this year's has dropped. I believe it's called Snapper.
Yes.
Have ye both seen it?
Yes. In case anyone might have seen it and not realised what it is, it's about a boy at a second-hand fair thing who buys what is supposedly a seed of a perfect Christmas tree, and when he plants it, it turns into a Venus flytrap, which becomes enormous to the point where his parents remove it from the house.
Oh, it's a Little Shop of Horrors,
yes,
sort of.
It's very Little Shop of Horrors.
Yeah.
Oh, well, I thought of you, actually.
Well, I was wondering if it brought back memories for you.
Oh, you're thinking of my my Triffids.
Emily was in Day of the Triffids in the 80s, was that? Which was a bit of a classic BBC
Well,
series.
we didn't know. I had, as you know, I had a choice, Frank. I was offered another part at the time. It was Susan in Day of the Triffids.
Yes.
Or Fanny by Gaslight.
Was it Paracut?
Frank.
Yeah.
And I went for Triffids.
No, well, you did the right thing. You went sci-fi, which is always a good thing. I got hogged by an Avenger at the weekend, by the way.
Did you? Which one?
Paul Bettany, who plays...
Oh, I love Paul Bettany.
Gangster #1.
He's great.
Oh, I like him. He was in Master and Commander.
Yes, that's a fabulous film.
He was. But he's a fantastic vision.
Well, I know he is.
Really tremendous. Anyway,
so
I live near Triffid Alley.
Do you? What's
Remember, he was one of he was one of the Iraqi
my God.
cabinet.
I can't believe you did this sometimes.
No, Trifid Ali.
Is that why there't so much humus on your car?
Trifid Ali is the local people of
The League of Gentlemen.
yes. There are, how local people, are proper local people who get involved in things.
Oh, yes.
They want to have it actually named Trifid Ali. In the book, is it Bill, the main character?
Correct.
Bill races Mason? Mm-hmm. Anyway, Bill races into an alleyway to escape the Triffids. A narrow alleyway, and it's been identified as being at the bottom of my road.
What, the one that John Wyndham wrote about?
Yeah. So there is a plaque there that says Trifid Alley, but they want it to be properly changed. They want it to be named Trifid Alley.
Oh, I'll have to take my picture in Trifid. My picture in Trifid
Well, next time you come over, we'll go down to Trifid Alley.
I might sell it at a convention.
I just wonder if they didn't film there, did they?
No, we filmed in Suffolk, I believe it was.
Oh, okay.
I'll tell you the locations afterwards. I have a whole album. I've got the Trifid album.
See, that could be. You remember I had a book the other week. It was
Behind the scenes.
I had a picture book of Conan the Barbarian. You could bring out a similar thing.
That would be a bit tragic, wouldn't it?
Well, I bet that. Believe me, I was at Comic-Con last week. There were definitely people there who'd be interested.
Oh, imagine me behind a desk, Frank, with a styrofoam cup of coffee with no queues.
That'll be 15 quid.
Oh, no.
15 quid, move along.
Paul Bettany was 125, I think, for a photo. But, he's a bit special.
It's Bettany.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
Yes, so a boy befriends mysterious outsider. Family are upset and don't trust mysterious outsider. It's E.T., it's the Snowman, it's Meghan Markle. It's a very common narrative trope. So this poor creature, who I think is suggesting it eats their dog in the advert.
It's a dog eating. It also it vomits Christmas presents, though, on the plus side.
No, I don't think it does it?
Does it
eats them and then it vomits them unwrapped. Is what it does, which is rubbish because you're losing warranties, instructions,
bit
everything. Soggy. So, like one of the siblings of the slightly troubled, lonely boy figure. The sibling gets some beats, as I recall, and they're chomped up in a strange bit where the family all go out and lay their gifts in front of the now exiled Venus flytraps. No,
I find that very odd.
Why do they lay it? Like the Magi worshipping at the feet of this shrub?
I couldn't work out. I got that wrong. I thought, do they feel bad? And they're giving
or is it that they fear it? They're trying to appease this angry Venus flytrap demon.
Why did the family give the Venus flytrap presents?
I have a theory.
12, 15.
Because they didn't give it presents. They were their presents.
Yeah.
I think they're saying, you are our Christmas tree. And so we're laying our gifts. But they don't lay the gifts underneath it. They lay the gifts before it.
Yeah.
It didn't
and then
work.
it chews them up and spits the beats out without any instructions, any of the additional leads or wiring for charging.
What they should have said, Frank?
There's no charging equipment comes with the beats. They've been consumed.
They needed you on hand to come up with an end line, which should have been, there's gratitude for you.
Yes,
that's what I'd have said to that flytrap.
I had a Venus flytrap. And nothing would it. No, I had a Venus flytrap. Absolute rubbish.
I feel nervous.
Do you
feel nervous?
I'm constantly.
I used to kill flies, put them on its spiky lips, and it still didn't react. It's an absolute rubbish Venus flytrap.
What are they? But have you
Get a dog. A dog is much better. Add when there's a fly in the house, it's like I bought the dog an Xbox.
Is it?
It'll keep it going for half an hour, just leaping around after. Much more fun than watching just like a thing with a fly on its lip doing nothing.
The whole thing did feel a bit like they'd forgotten to write a pitch for it, and then they had to do the pitch and just kind of made it up as they went along. So they just, it's a Venus flytrap, and it's scary, but then it tries to eat the dog, but then it doesn't eat the dog.
And worst of all,
Yeah.
the thing that makes it unwatchable
Go on.
is
Oh, here we go.
Festa, Festa, Festa.
Oh,
Stop
Bocelli.
that terribleness. I wish opera singers would stick to opera and not come into the popular culture world. And I love opera, but that's where they belong. He's got a lovely voice, but not an advert. How your wife copes with that
God, yeah.
advert, I cannot imagine.
So sorry, just to recap, your review of Bocelli
Yeah.
is stop that terribleness.
Yes.
Okay.
But don't cross over.
Right.
He did a
your
lovely
lane,
thing on
Bocelli.
Strictly with his daughter, and they sang. What did they sing? I can't remember.
Oh,
Sarah.
It was, I remember. It was something tear-jerking.
Sarah, you're my popular culture consultant. You're giving me nothing.
Okay.
Anyway, I'll tell you what they did.
duet.
Hallelujah! They did that. And that was all right, because there were two people dancing to it. Very elegant. But Festa. Sounds like somebody
It's all gone a bit
skin
Adam's Family.
specialist doing a checklist.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
Frank, Jeff has been in touch just to say my daughter works in a garden centre,
Oh, yeah.
and since the John Lewis ad, they've been inundated with requests for Venus flytraps.
Don't bother. That's all I'm saying.
Are they no good?
Well, maybe I just got a duffer. I got a vegetarian Venus
I've
flytrap.
never had one. They frighten me.
Also, it is very much on the thing of what you said about they just threw an advert together. There is a definite advert piece of borrowing in that the Venus flytrap really looks like one of the aliens who championed instant mashed potato back in the 70s and 80s. Do you remember they used to talk? They were the smash.
For mash gets smashed.
And they suggested that people who boiled potatoes and grew potatoes and all that were primitives. There's a bit where they say, they are clearly a most primitive people. They all laugh.
Their laugh was
they
so
said
sinister.
Civilization is signified by the use of instant mashed potato. Do people still eat instant mashed potato? Sarah?
Yeah, my son's quite into it. Weirdly,
Is he?
Yeah. And we've done it the proper way, and he doesn't like it, and he likes the smoothness of the instant.
What concerns me about Venus flytrap is the slight feeling of unease I have at the end, that nothing has been resolved. We have no guarantee from this plant monster.
That it won't kill the family in the next
He
fray.
will kill again.
Yeah.
And
There's no dog in the external.
he's eaten the dog.
A Venus flytrap is for life, not just for Christmas.
Yeah.
But also, you are not getting rid of the problem by putting it in the garden.
No.
Okay?
Yeah, and this policy of appeasement that they're using is going to backfire.
What message are they teaching?
absolutely.
There's no boundaries here.
They've made a Venus flytrap happy, but at what cost?
Yeah.
No, it's not my favourite Christmas advert by quite a while.
Have you seen any of the others? Because I sort of got sucked down
Well,
a bit of it.
I do like three old ladies on sledges.
Yeah, but
Yes.
What about
I
the
know that
ad, Frank?
sounds
We
like-
don't want to know about your specialist interests.
No, I'm obsessed with Inuit burial rituals. No, I like that one. That's a lovely, moving, and quite sexy advert. The old ladies on
I'll
sledges.
tell you what I like, Frank. I did like the Elton John one.
Oh, I don't know that one. Oh, that one when he's.
This was from last year, Elton John as a boy. Do you
I
remember?
remember
yes,
that.
yes,
We
yes.
both cried at that.
Yes,
We shed a tear.
Yeah. Have you seen the three old ladies on?
No.
On,
Yes.
That's very nice.
It's a good one. That
Okay.
we're not saying the name of the.
I don't know. I don't know what it's advertising.
I believe it was Amazon.
Oh, is it? Oh, that's all right. Okay. They should go down on cardboard boxes. You give these people heating allowances and then they head for the slopes. Very ungrateful.
Frank Skinner.
Frank Skinner.
Absolute Radio.
Frank, you may recall Steve was reading out an extract from his wife Jane's interview in the Times, in which, Steve, if you'd care to remind us,
it was pointed out at great length that I am a disgusting pig with no table manners who eats, breathes, and drinks far too loudly.
Yeah, she should have kept that to herself. And
a pig is an animal with dirt on its face. Come on, carry on.
In fairness to Jane, Ruth Jordan has said, has Steve previously talked about his wife on stage and she's done the Times interview to get her own back?
I wasn't sure where that was going to go. I thought it was going to say Ruth Jordan says in Jane's defence, she's heard me eat. No, I don't. I generally don't talk about her too much on stage. Just
you've talked about her on here a bit, I think.
Yeah,
always nice.
Yeah, nothing.
Nothing abusive like
indeed,
the Times interview. Never mind.
But that all changes from today. The gloves are off.
Oh, you've got plans, have you, Steve?
The gloves are off, but the earphones are definitely on.
Yes.
What else?
We've heard from 596, who says, as a geography teacher of too many years, we have to teach about tropical rainforest and their structure. And the humus, as in humour, is indeed leaf mould. He calls it leaf mould.
Yes, you see, I think it might contain even living. I know leaves are sort of live. I think it even might have insects and things in it. It's basically dead stuff, and gardeners are keen on all sorts of dead stuff.
Okay.
All right. Sorry I brought you up.
Please don't bring it up. And then, this looks interesting. David Calderley has said, good morning, FE&S. Fez. Oh, that's good to know. It's not really Fez.
No.
Because there should be a Z. You should be Ziggy if we wanted that. We're listening to Frank.
Be a different guy, wouldn't he, if he was Ziggy Hall?
What would Steve be like if he was Ziggy Hall? He'd have very... Tell you what he'd have, Frank. He'd have a blonde, floppy hair. And don't you think?
Yes.
And slightly tight jeans that they wear on Love Island.
And he wouldn't eat like a garbage truck.
And his breathing would be immaculate.
His breathing would be almost indiscernible.
But then, you know what? He wouldn't be our Steve, and we wouldn't love him.
No, he wouldn't have done the taxi
Frank
joke.
said he's going to...
He might be a pig, but he's our pig.
Frank said he's going to go and see one of your gigs, Steve.
Oh, yes.
Where are you on?
We're doing...
are you on tonight?
Yeah, we're in Bristol this afternoon and tonight, but that's sold
This
out.
is you and Steve.
Me and Steve Williams are on
thing
tour.
is sold out.
And
There's always singles. That's my experience.
We're doing
Tell me about it.
We're doing the Frog and Bucket in Manchester next weekend. That's not sold out.
Okay.
We're doing Leicester Square Theatre in March.
I'll come to that one with Frank.
So that's the two Steve. Steve Williams also is also a friend of the show.
Yeah.
So go and see the Steves. They come with our recommendation.
The two. Do you call it the two Steves?
We call it Good Stevening.
Oh, Frank, I like that. What do you think?
So
that is so mean.
Good Stevening.
We call it the small rooms. We call it the small rooms in Very Cheap Tickets tour.
You should call it No Sense of Humus. Steve, it's always lovely to have you on. You are a tremendous sport, which is what people always say post-abuse. If the good Lord spares us and the creeks don't rise, we'll be back again this time next week. Now get out.
This is Frank Skinner. This is
Absolute Radio.